أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصادقون. So here again is a continuation of the shahadat of the bearing of witness. So what in effect we are saying here is, I bear witness that you are the Imams who are as-sadiqun, who are truthful. Sadiqun is the plural of sadiq, from the root of sidq. The opposite of sidq is kidhb. Kidhb means falsehood or lie. So therefore sidq means true or truth or honesty. So sidq also has the meaning of something which has solidity and strength in something. So a true word, for example, has solidity and strength. It is something solid, it is strong, whereas a lie and falsehood does not. And sidq can apply to not only words, it can apply to also beliefs, behavior, actions, feelings, etc. All of this, you can say that this is something that is open to sidq or kidhb. This is a true belief, this is a false belief, this is a true behavior or a false behavior, etc. So when we want to analyze these terms of sidq and kidhb, we can often use another term, two other terms, which are very similar, which is haqq and batil. Haqq and batil, again, are two opposites, and they can also apply to anything. Haqq has solidity and strength, which means it can last long and has permanence, whereas batil does not, and is not really real in itself. When we say something is batil, it doesn't mean that it has any kind of reality. It basically is pretending to be haqq. It is using haqq. It is putting itself in the place of haqq. It is lying in the shadows of haqq, if you like. We can use all these different terms, but batil actually doesn't have any reality in itself. Allah in the Qur'an gives the example of foam on water. So if you've ever been to the seaside, if you see the waves coming in and going out, you'll see that it's carrying water, but then there is a foam on top, which looks just like water. It rides on the water, but really when you go to touch that foam, it is nothing. It just disappears and disintegrates in your hand. It has no real reality. Creation, Agha says, is founded on haqq and sidq, not on batil and kidhb. You cannot have this universe and all of creation on something false and which doesn't really exist. It doesn't make sense. So the whole of creation is founded on haqq and sidq, on truth and on not on batil and kidhb, not on nullity and falsehood. Because as we said, nullity and falsehood, they have no reality of their own. Hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells the Holy Prophet in the Quran in 1780 to ask for sidq in everything he does. وَقُلْ رَبِّ أَدْخِلْنِي مُدْخَلَ صِدْقٍ وَأَخْرِجْنِي مُخْرَجَ صِدْقٍ وَاجْعَلْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ سُلْطَانًا نَصِيرًا, and say, my Lord, admit me with a worthy entrance. In other words, anything I go into, make it sidq and real and true and solid and strong, and bring me out when I'm done with that thing and I want to come out of that thing. Bring me out with a worthy departure and render me a favorable authority from yourself. And then to the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands to always be with the truthful. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullah wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. That is 9119. O you who have faith, be wary of Allah, have taqwa of Allah, and be with the truthful. Wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen. And then we have a hadith on this very verse where the Ma'soom says, this means us. In other words, the sadiqeen, who are they? When Allah says, be with the truthful, this means us, the ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. What can keep us on the path of sidq and with the sadiqeen? Well, according to the Quran, we can summarize it into four. Number one is faith. Number two is righteous deeds. Number three is not only faith, but firmness in beliefs. And number four, not is it only righteous deeds, but it is staying firm on righteous deeds and good behavior. Of course, Agha says that, of course, there are stages and levels of sidq and being with the sadiqeen. Is everyone equal in this? No, of course not. But the more you remain committed to these points, the more sidq you will have and the more company with the sadiqeen you will have. The key, if we want to really summarize it, then Aqa says the key is to have taqwa and to traverse and remain on sirat mustaqim. This will basically bring you into the company and under the banner of the sadiqeen. And there was no one more who did this more than the Imams, of course. Of course, their faith was the ultimate faith. Their deeds were the ultimate righteous deeds. Their firmness was the ultimate firmness. Their firmness on good behavior was the ultimate firmness. Hence, they are truly the Sadiqeen. When we then adopt these things, we become ma'as Sadiqeen, with the truthful ones. So they are the ultimate and highest level of Sadiqeen. Now, I will go through 4 verses right now from the Holy Quran, which demonstrate this sidq and what Allah says about sidq. For example, the first one is 2177. Piety is not to turn your faces to the east or the west. Rather, piety is personified by those who have faith in Allah and the last day, the angels, the book, the prophets, who give their wealth for the love of Allah to relatives and orphans and the needy, the traveler and the beggar. For the freeing of slaves, they maintain the prayer and give the zakat, and they fulfill their promises and covenants when they pledge. And those who are patient in stress and distress and in the heat of battle, they are the ones who are true to their covenant, and it is they who are the God-wary. So this is the first instance. You'll see in all of these things that we have described in this verse, the Imams are at the top of that list. Second verse, 59:8. The poor emigrants who have been expelled from their homes and wrested of their possessions, who seek grace from Allah and His pleasure and help Allah and His Prophet, it is they who are the truthful, who more than the Imams have gone through this kind of treatment, being expelled, wrested of their possessions, who constantly seek grace from Allah and His pleasure, who help Allah and His Apostle. Of course, it is the Imams, and it is they who are the truthful. The third verse is Surah Hujurat 49:15. The faithful are only those who have attained faith in Allah and His Apostle and then have never doubted, who wage war with their possessions and their persons in the way of Allah. It is they who are the truthful. Again, who can say that they have true faith in Allah and Rasulullah, never have doubted, who wage jihad with their possessions and their persons in the way of Allah? Aimmah alayhimus salam, it is they who are the truthful. Fourth and final verse is from 57:19. Those who have faith in Allah and His Apostles, it is they who are the truthful and witnesses with their Lord. They shall have their reward and their light. But as for those who are faithless and deny our signs, they shall be the inmates of hell. So who has the utmost and ultimate faith in Allah and His Apostle? It is the Aimmah alayhimus salam. So therefore, they are the truthful and they are the witnesses. They are the shuhada. Shuhada here means witnesses. They shall have their reward and their light. They will be the ultimate recipients of reward, and they will have the ultimate nur from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this basically brings us to the end of this discussion. It's a very short and sweet session regarding as-sadiqun. Now the next discussion is very, very interesting, but it's very long, so I'll have to go through it and condense it as usual. This is where Agha brings a section almost under each line, which is called the isharat. In other words, those related matters to what we have discussed. So Agha brings in the isharat of this particular line, he brings my favorite subject, the merits of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam, and he highlights how almost every merit of Amirul Mu'mineen that is mentioned by the Prophet, unfortunately, there have been fabricated and made up merits for Abu Bakr and Umar. Unfortunately, in the Sunni books, you'll see almost, you can say, if we have, for example, a merit of Amirul Mu'mineen, they have a merit which is in similar words or similar meaning for Abu Bakr and Umar. And then Agha, of course, disproves this. Now, some of these are very technical, and we will not bring those discussions because I think it'll be too much for the audience. But the ones which are easier to understand and are non-technical, inshallah, we will bring these most likely in a recorded session He also discusses and criticizes the beliefs of the Sunnis with regards to how they understand the term sadiqeen. How do they deal with this verse? Well, they have some theories and they have some points. He will take those apart and he will criticize them and he will basically show them that they are baseless and empty. So inshallah, that will be the next session. Inshallah, Allah keeps us with the sadiqeen and with Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. That is the end of today's session. Inshallah, now we can look at the questions if there are any. Surah, so Sunni have strong belief in sadiqeen. Well, Sister Suraya, they they have their own beliefs, and how they justify it is sometimes baffling and mind-boggling. How they come to their conclusions and how we deal with these made-up hadiths and made-up sayings, which try to bring down the ahlulbayt or try to raise up others. So they wanted to, in the past, people were paid and people were sponsored to make up things about other companions so that we can show, or they can show, that, it wasn't just Amirul Mu'mineen who had all these merits. There were other people as well who had these merits. This is mind-boggling and baffling. And inshallah, we will discuss all of this in a bonus session. Wait for that. But yes, of course, they believe in the same Qur'an as us. So how do they deal with this verse of وَكُونُوا مَعَ الصَّادِقِينَ? How would they interpret that be with the truthful? We interpret it as Aimmah alayhimus salam, ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. We are very firm and very clear on this. We don't have any doubts. We have to ask them that, okay, you guys, you tell us, how do you deal with this? And then they'll give us their theories, and then Allah will come and destroy their theories. So we will discuss that, inshallah. Ghulam Ali Bhai, the titles Siddiq al-Akbar and Farooq al-A'zam actually belong to Imam Ali and other. Absolutely, 100%. This is from Rasulullah. This is also coming in that same discussion. That yes, Rasulullah actually names Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam with these titles. He says, Ya Ali, anta Farooq al-A'zam wa anta Siddiq al-Akbar. You are truly the Farooq, the great Farooq, and you are truly the great Siddiq. It doesn't apply to anyone else, no matter what they want to say and however they want to justify. We have our answers and we have our arguments. So inshallah, they will all come and we'll do a session on that. Ya Ali, anta al-Faruq al-A'zam wa anta al-Siddiq al-Akbar. This is in Bihar al-Anwar, Jild, volume 38, page 111. Yeah. But there's much more than this. That's just, a snippet. We'll have to look into this in great depth to do a little bit of justice, which we cannot do to Amirul Mu'mineen, but we'll try our best to maybe bring a smile on the face of Imam Zaman with these discussions. So that was our discussion on the line of As-Sadiqoon. Inshallah, we'll have further discussions on this in related matters on the merits of Amirul Mu'mineen. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.